and welcome back again to yet another exciting conversation on women, rather young women and elections, young women candidates and elections, and the whole financial conversation around their candidature. My name is Nonhlanhla Ngwenya, and I'm your host today. And you know what? Before we get into this exciting conversation, I'd like to say a very big congratulations to Whispers for turning 4 years today.
Wow, we need a cake.
Yeah, definitely a cake. Okay, so today I've got three amazing, powerful women, young women in Zimbabwean politics. I'll let them explain, introduce themselves, who they are, and to which political parties they come from. I'll start with you, President Linda.
Thank you very much, Nonhlanhla. Thank you for inviting us for this conversation. My name is Linda Tsungirai Masarira, the founding president of Labour Economists and African Democrats, a feminist transformation party, and a pan-African oriented political party in Zimbabwe that believes in homegrown solutions.
Thank you so much. Yvonne.
Hi, my name is Winfrida Yvonne Sarurwa, MDCT Vice Chairperson and an Honorable Member of Parliament and a Chairperson for Environment, Climate and Tourism, also a member of #Whispers Harare Province. Welcome.
Thank you. Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Ndlovu. I'm coming from United Zimbabwe Alliance. I'm the National Engagement and Mobilization Secretary, UZA.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Okay, so today, ladies, just a few weeks back, actually, I think 2 weeks back, we had a conversation with other young women from two political parties in Zimbabwe, that was ZANU-PF and CCC. And the conversation was also around finances and how finances, affect them running for political office. So two things came out during that conversation. So one of the ladies who actually ran for primaries under the ZANU-PF card, she said finances were not really much of a problem for her, and the reason why she didn't win were other reasons, but not finances. And then the lady from CCC said CCC has come up with a different structure to make sure that everyone gets a fair chance in that process of them nominating people being nominated to run for office does not require money from aspiring candidates. So I would like to say, okay, since CCC and ZANU-PF are sort of like giving us the picture that money hasn't really been an issue for them, what do you say, Linda, as a lead president, Yvonne, you are from the MDCT, and Rebecca from USA. So you guys shed the light for us over the years, speaking to women candidates, especially young women candidates. Money and finances have always been the biggest hurdle. Linda.
Thank you very much, Nonhlanhla. I must say, first of all, I think the former interviewees you had were speaking in a position of patriarchal gatekeeping. It is not a secret that most women in Zimbabwe are not financially independent. It is not a secret that we are in a harsh economic climate where we've got currency volatility and a whole range of economic issues that are affecting our beloved Zimbabwe. We need to be truthful when we interrogate these issues, because since time immemorial, we've failed to have 50% of parliamentarians being women, mainly due to the issue of finances and structural marginalization of women in politics. Secondly, the Political Finances Act was crafted in such a manner of promoting a binary political system in Zimbabwe, which would not accommodate smaller political parties, which is contrary to the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which speaks to a multi-party democracy. So at the end of the day, the Political Finances Act only supports political parties that have got 5% representation in parliament, which means that even if LEAD is able to put 2 MPs into parliament in 2023, we will not be eligible for the State Political Finances Act. And when you look at it, when the MDC split, those were actually at the forefront of ensuring that they have to elbow out smaller political parties became the victims, because they never thought at any one particular day they would split and be the victims of the very same laws that they've crafted. So a lot of advocacy work needs to be done on the Political Finances Act to be able to support every political party that wants to run for public office, because this is a national duty that every political party will be doing. We have a very big problem in our country where our politics has turned elitist, capitalist, and gender insensitive. And we do not have funds that specifically go to women, even at those parties that have got the 5% coming from that have got 5% representation. We do not see the women in those political parties also benefiting from the political finances. So what we need going forward is a women's fund to cater for all women candidates across the political divide. I think that is one way we would also be able to ensure that more women are participating in governance issues, more women are taking the lead in running for council, for parliament, for presidency, because there is no one who was born to lead. Sadly, we are in a very patriarchally dominated country where the men still look down upon women, where women are still viewed as second-class citizens. And the moment you want to raise your head and say you are running for the highest office of the land, a lot of stereotypes are raised around you. And we never see the same being done for our male counterparts. So we still have a mammoth task to be able to achieve equality. But our biggest challenge as women candidates is the financing, because we are not as resourced as the male candidates, most of whom are able to engage in some corrupt activities. I have to be realistic about our situation in Zimbabwe. They've got the links and everything else to be able to siphon money from other areas. But women have always been women. We do things in a straight manner. We want to do things that are proper. We want to restore the dignity of this country. And we do not have that time to be able to go into some unethical things for us to be able to get those resources. But at the end of the day, what we really need to do is to claim our space, make sure that we participate at equal footing. But the government has not been sincere in ensuring that Section 17 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe is adhered to. Section 17 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe speaks about gender balance, but we still have organs in the state that are not complying with Section 17 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. There is no sincerity in ensuring that women are given equal opportunities in our country, even at a time where we have got a women's ministry that is not also supporting women participation in politics. We see the women's ministry doing national activities that are partisan. That is also a very huge cause of concern, because every Zimbabwean should be afforded their political rights as enshrined in Section 67 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. And we demand fairness, we demand equality, and we also need to be funded as women candidates to deal with the structural marginalization of women in governance issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Wow, well put. Yvonne, we need to be funded as women candidates. Can you speak to that? I know you are a sitting parliamentarian as we speak right now. So, finances and the coming up elections.
Okay, thank you, Nonhlanhla. Coming from perspective where my political party as members of parliament and we are getting a Finances Act, it's not a reason that we must just use that because we have Finances Act, we female candidates are going to be funded by that political party. Right now, we have been getting Finances Act, but that money is not meant to fund young women. That money is not meant to fund candidates. That money is used to run the political parties. So right now, as we are going for elections, I'm a member of parliament. I'm a sitting member of parliament, and they said we must pay $1,000 for nomination fee, right? I am getting a salary which is less than $100 right now as it stands. And I want to run for these elections. And I am a member of parliament.
And you're a young woman.
Yes, and I am a young woman. You know, this situation where I am already a sitting member of parliament, what about someone who wants to run for this election? who is not a member of parliament, who is not capacitated with maybe a vehicle to run, to campaign, go here and there to source for votes, is going to be a difficult election. And from what you have just asked me, it's going to be a difficult election for young women. We can't run this election. It's like they're saying there is no reason for young women or for women to run this election. We have Linda Masarira, who is trying to run for president, and she wants to raise something like 20,000 between today and Tuesday. But if you ask her today where she is going to get those funds, it's a null and void. It's like, no, stop there. This election is meant for the rich and famous, not for you. Linda might be famous, but she might not be rich because she's a woman. Let me take you to our cultural values. Women in our society, we are regarded as like we must spend all our lives like taking care of the kids. We are supposed supposed to be warm, taking care of the husband, being in bed. You are supposed to be taking kids to school. You are supposed to be washing, cooking, washing. But if you look, I have my male counterparts. They are very busy right now as we stand. They're hustling. They have a business guys who are supporting them. They have like, if you go to my political party like MDC, I'm not going to talk about other political parties because I'm so disheartened by what is transpiring right now. I've been checking on the list of the candidates, like I come from Harare province. I only discovered that we have 4 candidates, right? 4 women candidates that are ready to stand in for parliament because they're the ones that have resources. Huh? I am one of the candidates. I'm trying to source right now. If you check my status, I'm selling one of my vehicles so that I can fund my election. And the other 3 are some women that are trying to make ends meet. The other one is a vegetable marketer. The other one is a sitting member of parliament, and the other 2 are councillors. But they're trying to say, no, guys, let's bring in what we have. But the honest thing is, as young women and women who are trying to participate in politics, we don't have resources. We have nothing to use for these 2023 elections. Reason being, of number 1, like I said before, like I've alluded before, the cultural values. Number 2, the male candidates, like the sitting president is a male candidate, and he's trying by all means to close in for us women to participate in this election. And it's going to be a very, very tough thing for us as young women and women in Zimbabwe to participate in this election because of financial hurdles.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Rebecca, I know United Zimbabwe Alliance is a baby when it comes to the Zimbabwean politics. You guys are like new guys on the block. You've just entered the scene. But how has it been for you?
Thank you, Nonhlanhla. It's so difficult and it's so disheartening, like my colleagues have said. Without finance, you cannot go anywhere. Without resources, you cannot go anywhere. We have got a lot of women who are willing to participate in this 2023 election, but because of the financial hurdles, they can't. Like in our party, we have got 50 candidates, women candidates, both from local government and National Assembly. But they are failing to get the fees that has been gazetted. If I can take you back to our statistics in Zimbabwe, women in politics, 15% is the percentage that we have for women, meaning it already says it all.
Yeah.
That we have a financial challenge. We have got financial challenges, like Msaruru has said, women, they've got all the privileges to go and source for funding. Yet women, we can't. When you go to look for funding, they will say, sleep with me first so that I can give you funding.
True.
You have to open your legs so that we can give you money so that you can campaign. And most of the women, their husband will be saying, this is not your arena. As women, we are only said to be, you are supposed to be at home, like what she has said, breastfeeding, doing the household chores, doing whatever they want. But at the end of the day, they need us, even us, to participate in those elections, to vote for them. They just see us as people who are supposed to be supporting them, ululating for them, not participating in
Directing for
elections.
them.
So we are saying, women, we need finances. We need resources for us to stand up and to rise. The percentage says it all, 15%. That's the lowest percentage. Yet women, we carry the highest percentage as for men. So we are saying the financial hardships, those are the main hurdles that are barring women in politics.
Yeah.
Also, women are facing bullying. Women are facing harassment, political intimidation, political violence. As we speak right now, we had a case of our members who were intimidated, who were brutalized in Chitungwiza. But as for now, we opened the case, but as for now, nothing has happened. Women were terrorized there, but nothing was done. So you see, women, we have got a lot of obstacles ahead of us, especially in politics. But the main major challenge is finances and resources for us to go. Because the moment you decide to become a member of parliament or to become part of local government, that means you need money, you need resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Linda, I think you spoke a lot on money, and you even touched on the Political Parties Act. That really is not doing much to help young women. And Yvonne, you also spoken on that, and Rebecca as well. So when do we need these finances? When and how? Do we need them? Like elections, we go on elections on the 23rd of August. We are done. Do we start mobilizing for the next election? When can we say now we need to start mobilizing resources for young women who may want to take part in the next elections, which will be 2028?
I think it is important for political parties to start campaigning maybe just 6 months after an election.
Okay.
We have seen ZANU-PF doing that, and it has worked very well for them. But what has limited smaller political organizations in this country is the issue to do with resources. Because the main political party, which has been the ruling party since 1980, made sure that they monetize the political economy. And they know that once they have monetized the political economy, smaller parties will be choked. But what we need to do in the spirit of multi-party democracy, tolerance, unity in our diversity, is to ensure that every Zimbabwean, every political party is allowed to exercise their constitutional rights enshrined in Section 67 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Section 67 speaks about political rights, and it clearly and expressly states that every Zimbabwean has got a right to participate in political activities in a party of their choice. They've got the right to stand for public office, for council, for MP, for president. It does not state that the elite should stand for office. But what we are seeing is the elite trying to take over the country, trying to control the proletariat, and ensuring that when they take over, they continue having elitist decisions, elitist laws, at the expense of the majority who are poor and struggling to make ends meet. We cannot continue with a political system that is binary, that is not serving the interests of Zimbabweans. We need to make sure that we open up the political economy and ensure that we've got more political parties in parliament. If Zambia, South Africa, and other neighboring countries, I won't speak of countries that are far away, have got multi-party democracies with 4, 5, 6 political parties, why are we failing to do the same in this country? Our country is not moving forward because we've got 2 or 3 political parties in parliament, with the ruling party always having the majority. We need to think outside the box, dismantle this two-thirds majority by the ruling party for us to be able to start having people-centric laws that are pro-poor, that will develop the livelihood of ordinary Zimbabweans. But if we continue being static, looking at the politics of populism, which is different in Zimbabwe, we're not doing justice to the struggles that people have been facing since time immemorial. It is said that a lot of people still view politics as a game of populism. Politics is about development. Politics is about devolution. Politics is about decolonization of mindsets, tolerance of other diverse political ideologies. The moment we accept that, realize that, and embrace our differences, but in the aspect of developing our country, united in our diversity, our country will develop. Our country will move forward. But as long as we want to continue with a binary system, we are always going to be having the same problems, because those who get into power are the elite. They'll cover for the issues to deal with the businessmen, the elite, and those who are already high up in life. But who will stand for the poor? Who will stand for the downtrodden? Who will stand for the vulnerable? I'm against this notion that for one to be an MP, they have to fork out 1,000 USD. I might be in a farming community or a peri-urban area. I know the issues that are affecting people in my community, and I have to stand to fight for them. But I become limited because of resources. It is not proper. And I think a lot of advocacy work still needs to be done, and political parties need to be able to get resources at least 4 years before an election, so that they mobilize the ground way before the electoral campaigning period. And then lastly, right now, as we are about to go to nomination court on the 21st of June, money is needed by the 20th of June for the smaller political parties to be able to participate. We cannot continue saying the ruling party and the mainstream political parties are the only ones that are supposed to run. I'm speaking for Labour Economists and African Democrats, because it's a feminist party that is advancing women's rights, that is advancing the interests of women, which most political parties are not doing. We are being chopped. We are being systematically elbowed out of active politics because the patriarchal dominant characters know the power that women exude. So they are using the divided rule tactic. They'll make sure that they frustrate you so that you do not run, so that you do not push for the issues affecting women. And we are always the losers at the end of the day. So I think it is imperative for women themselves to start thinking outside the box. What is it exactly that we are doing? We cannot continue playing the political game in a political system that was designed by men to elbow out women. We cannot continue saying because the men are buying voters, so we need the resources to buy voters. No, we need the resources to campaign and to introduce a new political system that favors women. Women in Zimbabwe constitute 54% of the population. Registered voters are nearly 56%, if I'm not wrong. The people who vote the most are women. But we are not supporting each other. So we need the resources to be able to mobilize women, give them sufficient civic education on the importance of voting for other women, so that we'll be able to have our issues dealt with.
Wow. Thank you so much, President Linda. And I would really, earlier you were saying that you have a feministo and not a manifesto.
Yes,
I would
really,
I would really love to see your feministo. And when can we expect it?
Actually, we're finished typing it. We just have a soft copy. Resources are limiting us to do the hard copy.
We got
So we got back to resources.
Okay, Yvonne. So when are these resources needed to rally behind young women like you that are in politics? You were saying earlier that you have even put up one of your vehicles up for sale on your WhatsApp status because you're trying to raise the 1,000 before Tuesday. So when should money be rallied for young women?
Okay, to start with, the money is supposed to be with me today, number one, but I don't have that money for me to be guaranteed that I'm going to run for this next election. Like I've said before, this is going to be an elitist election. We are not going to have, like now, the young women are unemployed. There are vendors out there. No one can raise even $20 a day from selling tomatoes, from selling second-hand clothes, from selling vegetables. So the money that we need is needed by today. But right now we don't have anything. Like myself, I don't have a coin. That's why I've opted to sell my car so that I can raise some funds. Because the funds that we need are not only for nominations. We need funds, we need material, campaign material, we need flyers, we need banners, we need t-shirts. We need to go out there. If you go out there, your male counterparts in the constituents will be like, come, let's go for door to door. They have flyers, they have t-shirts, they have lunches for their people, they have per diems. But like now, myself, I'm telling you, Nontagle, I don't have even $1 with me right now.
Towards your
My campaign.
campaigning.
Yes, I have nothing. Number one. Number two, tomorrow is the D-Day for MDC primary elections. We are going to have our final day tomorrow. And if I was not here, I was supposed to be in my constituents, trying to garner support from my people, trying to influence my people to vote for me tomorrow. Maybe I'm just talking here out of influence that I'm a feminist, but maybe I'm not going to be a candidate because there's a male counterpart who is also running in my constituents. So I don't know my fate tomorrow. Not only my fate, almost the opposition political parties, they're going to have their final decisions made tomorrow. I have my sisters in Triple C. I have some, you are like you alluded before that you had ZANU-PF and you had Triple C. The good party is ZANU-PF now knows their candidates, but Triple C doesn't know their candidates, and their fate is tomorrow, right? But the fate that they have tomorrow is the fate that I have tomorrow. You need to transport your people to come to the venue where the nominations are going to be done. You need to feed your people. You need to influence them. Influence that I'm talking about is financial influence. It's not just an influence that I'm going to come and say, no, my name is Yvonne Sarurwa. I've been in politics for the past 17 years. I've been in politics from 2003. Please, may you vote for me. People are not for that at this day and time. People are like, what are you bringing on table? Are we going to have lunch after this? Are you going to transport us? There's no one who is going to come with this or your water. They are going to say, please, Honorable, can you give us water? Councillor, can you give us water? So it's a very difficult situation for young women and for women to participate in this election. Just from the primaries.
You know, can I just say something there?
Yeah.
You know, it becomes as if it's the people will be trying to be funny. But under normal circumstances, refreshment and eats are just supposed to be provided. But because our economy is not proper, it becomes as if women candidates want to be crybabies. But we're not being crybabies.
Yeah.
Our economy is not in the right state.
These are basic things that should be provided. Yeah. You know, last night we had another conversation, and it was about how the election has suddenly turned elitist, or rather the Zimbabwean politics has suddenly turned elitist, because you cannot talk about $20,000. You can't just go to anyone and say, you know, we need $20,000 Zimbabwe. You know, I mean, really, this is Zimbabwe we're talking about. And Rebecca, I know that your president is also a woman, a young woman. So how much, when you talk about it, have you come up with a figure of how much is needed? Not just the 20,000 for nomination, but also for campaigning, you know, and logistics and all other things. As a team, I know you're part of the campaign team, so you guys also need salaries. You need to be paid. You have families. So how much, if you have a rough idea of how much you may need? And I'll also ask the same question to Linda, because she's also running for president, and you've won as well for MP.
I think for a president, I think she needs about 5 million or more
Wow.
for the campaign.
Mhm.
Because like an MP, she needs, for an urban MP candidate,
Mhm.
she needs about 300,000 for her campaign.
Mhm.
For a rural candidate, she needs about 500 for a campaign, only one person. So for a president, she needs about 5 million and above for that campaign to be so successful. And with this syndrome that we have in Zimbabwe, the Unai syndrome, what do you have for us, for us to vote for you?
Mhm.
This one is a major problem in us as Zimbabweans. We need to be unlocked the mindset that we have, that has been instilled in us, that you are supposed to vote for someone if she gives you or if he gives you something.
Yeah.
So for us as women candidates, it would not be easy, because like for us as UZA, we are a new baby. This election is our first election.
Yes.
So we are supposed to be campaigning and to be known everywhere. We don't have anything. We are looking from this. We are looking funds. We are looking for funds from our citizens, our members. And at the end of the day, the members, for a member to pay a membership subscription, kumba kwake hahana chaanacho.
Mhm.
And she's coming from her home where she's saying, I've got nothing, and you are telling her to pay $5 a subscription. So it's a challenge. So we need resources, and for us to move and for us to have a successful campaign, we need about $5 to $6 million for this election. So we are saying we have got nothing, like what my colleague has said, Yvonne. We have got nothing,
Yeah.
especially when you say 20,000. For the last election, for a president, unenge watobhadharira the whole candidates that much. Now it's being said you have to pay for one for president, 20,000 for president. So we are not going anywhere. And even if you want to say women, may you participate, may you participate. So difficult, because we've got councillors who are coming from Cholocho. I've got this young lady. She's campaigning, and she wants to be in local government. She's campaigning in a rural area where the wards are so far away. The ward itself is more like a constituency. She needs a vehicle to move her from point A to point B. We are a new baby. We don't have even vehicles. We have, but they are not enough for the campaigns. So we have a situation where we cannot go anywhere, especially for us women candidates. I just feel for those women who wants to stand up, especially from rural areas. It's a challenging situation, and it's also challenging, especially for an MP to run the constituents. So difficult for a rural MP to run the campaign.
Yvonne, I like, I'll get back to you as well. I like what she's brought up. She's brought up the other aspect of other young women in the play, young rural women, and money. At least you are in town. We may say, she's an urban girl, right? Maybe you can sell this, you can sell that. You can network with those people and those other people, and maybe raise 500 US dollars. But there is a rural young woman who is 25, who is 26, and would like to run to be councillor. Where does she start? And let's go back to the previous question. How much for your campaign trail?
Okay, let me answer first the first part of the question. It's not only about rural young women. We have a constituency of people, young women living with disabilities. This is a constituency as well that we have to look into. We have quite a number of young women that are living with disabilities. And this election, like I've alluded before, it's going to be difficult for her to contest in these elections, because she doesn't have legs to walk from point A to point B. She doesn't have a car. Some are deaf and dumb. some are blind. So for her to go and campaign in such a constituency is going to be difficult for her, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, her source of living is very difficult already, and she's expected to pay 1,000. Coming to myself, I'm coming from an urban constituency. Urban constituencies, people doesn't see how difficult they are to campaign, because we have people already who are like, no, we are not going to vote for her. They know me already. And they're like, no, we're not going to vote for women because they're not going to bring in anything. Huh? They are going to say, women are not, like in rural constituencies, they value women better than in urban constituencies.
Wow.
Yeah, because some feel like, my mother can be a better leader. But in urban constituency, a male candidate comes here, he buys Chibuku in Budiro, like I'm coming from Budiro constituency. A male candidate comes here, buys Chibuku, he goes to the other corner, he goes and buys Lagas, he goes to the other corner, he goes and buys ABCD. But in a rural setup, maybe a woman candidate will just let my children, you know me, I don't have much, but I can cook a porridge for you, I can cook salsa for you, and we have a meal. Huh? But coming to bring in us as rural and women, there is nothing that we must like discriminate each other. We must not have a comparison of a rural constituency and a urban constituency. Our issues are the same. Our issues are the same. We cannot say because I'm coming from an urban constituency, I have an upper hand or my hand is lower, or because you're coming from a rural constituency, yours is upper. If we bring everything together, we are going to see that everything is the same. It's just that you have a constituency whereby a ward can stretch like a constituency, but my barriers are also the same as yours, because my male counterpart is able to bring everyone closer, and his resources are able to fund his election. And you are trying to run around in a ward which stretches like two constituencies, but you don't have those resources. So our issues are coming back to the same table. So what we need to do, and to be realistic, is that women issues on finances towards elections are the same. We are facing the same challenge. We don't have finances. Number one, I can go back and back and back and back to whereby women then came up and say, by such and such date, we need to have 50-50. This conclusion came after they realized that women are suffering.
Yeah.
It's not just a conclusion that just came like Linda, Yvonne, and my friend from Uza just said and then decided, no, we have to come up with this conclusion. We have the same issues, not only in Zimbabwe, but Africa, the whole world. But coming to this 2023 elections, there is no rural, there is no urban council, there is no urban constituents. Our challenges are the same. Whether you're coming from a political party, whether you're an independent candidate, whether you're coming from a political party that is in parliament, whether you're coming from a political party that is not in parliament, our issues are the same. We are facing the same issues. Our barriers are the same. We are not able to contest this 2023 elections because of financial issues. You're going to see that right now in parliament, we have about 10% of female parliamentarians. But come this election, from what happened in the ruling party, from the ruling party, the primary elections that they held, from all the 210 constituencies plus those 60 PRs, you will find out there are less than 100 women in parliament in ZANU-PF from their primary elections. Coming to my political party, I don't want to talk about it because I'll cry before this interview. I don't want to talk about it because my fellow women, young women, they're not able to participate because they don't have anything. Because someone will be thinking like, I have to take, because the situation that we have because of this inflation, someone is thinking like, if I put $5 in my phone and to start to source for votes, it's not going to work for me. Let me just buy a piece of soap so that I can wash my body and wash my kids' clothes. Then
Buy pads.
yes, buy pads. We
Mm.
please don't start that conversation of pads.
Mm.
It's just something else that takes me back. You know, we have a lot of issues behind us. We have a lot of barriers that are behind us. And this election, like I've said before, if the sitting president cannot reduce these funds by Monday, it means it's going to be an elitist election.
Yes.
You spoke about how much I want for me to run a constituency. My constituency is about 88,000 voters. For me to reach out to them, just in my constituency, I need something like 44,000 US dollars. I'm not talking about my president. I'm not talking about other constituencies where there are female candidates. I'm just talking about my constituents. I need 44,000 US dollars for me to just start to get into the constituents. I'm just calculating like how much a t-shirt is costing, maybe 50 cents if I go to someone who is less. Huh? And these are just t-shirts, 50 cents to give someone campaign material. Imagine I need posters. Imagine I need flyers. Imagine I'm supposed to hold a rally in my constituents. This is going to be like 100,000 already. And because of this inflation in our country, I'll need to bust my people to come and listen to me, to my manifesto. I haven't yet presented my manifesto. And for me to print maybe 10,000 copies of my manifesto, I need something like $5,000, which is totally difficult for me right now in this time. And like I've alluded before, that I'm selling my car. My car doesn't worth 10,000. So this election, like I've said before, is not for us who are poor. It's not a pro-poor election.
Linda, how much do you need as president? USA they are saying that they need about 5 million plus.
When we crafted our budget for the 2023 election, we're trying to make it as reasonable as possible. And as a political party that is having the courage to be different and starting to walk the talk of demonetizing elections in Zimbabwe, we had crafted our budget at $1 million US, where we'd put in the candidate fees for presidents at 3,000. Our candidates, because we're not fielding in every constituency, because some constituencies are already strongholds of other political parties. We are focusing more on the low-hanging fruits, and we're going to be putting in about 15 to 18 MPs, which would be about 18,000. So in the long and short of it is, between now and Tuesday, we need 50,000 US dollars to get our candidates through the nomination process. That is what is important for us right now.
Yeah.
For us to be able to print the paraphernalia and everything else that we need, the campaign material, we need 500,000 US dollars. For us to be able to field polling agents, the food, and everything else that will be needed, we need another 500,000 US dollars. We need to hold about 10 rallies across Zimbabwe. We need to launch our manifesto and a whole lot of things. We need another 500,000 US dollars. So you realize that the 1 million we actually put was actually too little considering what needs to be done. So as we were trying to review the past 2 days, we realized that we need about 2 million US dollars for us to be able to hold a successful campaign. But, one of the biggest challenges we have had as a political party, I will not mince my words on this one. We had several women's organizations in Zimbabwe that had promised to help us in resource mobilization. But all of a sudden, they seem to have grown cold feet, changed their mind, etc., which has left us in a very precarious situation. We had another Indian businesswoman in Zimbabwe was actually rooting for us, saying we were doing well. She believed in what we were doing. And then all of a sudden, from the blues 2 days ago, she started giving us conditions. You cannot continue speaking about the Zimbabwe dollar. You cannot speak about this, speak about Zimbabwe dollarizing fully, speak about this, about their business interests and everything. Then I just realized that what they say is true, that there's no free lunch in politics.
Yeah.
I'd rather get funding from people who believe in feminism, people who believe in women's abilities to be able to uplift each other, to advance women's rights, because that is what I stand for. That is what I am known for. And I would rather be given conditions with anything that will empower women into leadership, with anything that will make women equals in our political economy. I would take that condition to get funding. But don't give me conditions to speak against my country, to destroy the economy of this country, because whatever I do is in the best interest of Zimbabwe. What we stand for as Labour economists and African Democrats is putting Zimbabwe first. And when we are talking of putting Zimbabwe first, we are speaking about the women. We are the mothers. Whatever burden in our society affects the woman more, it does not affect the men more. Because men, whenever they get money, they're looking for a second wife, a third wife, or small houses. Whenever they get money, they would rather go into corrupt activities to live their lavish, selfish lifestyles. But when you give a woman money, she wants to uplift her family. She wants to uplift her children. She wants to buy a house for her family. That is the very same viewpoint that Zimbabweans should have. Women are builders. Women nurture life. And women are the only solution to the quagmire that we've been facing in this country for the past 43 years. And as long as we're going to continue with the stereotypes that women can't, or that women are trying to get into positions that they cannot be in because they have to participate at equal footing with men. We can never participate at equal footing with men because men have used their resources to divide and rule women. And women themselves have not been strong enough to claim their space and say, no, we are tired of you men. We gave birth to you. We now need to take the lead, because when that very same man gets sick, is the wife who's running around to ensure that he has been taken to hospital, he has taken his meds. When there is poverty in the house, it is the woman who will be doing the cross-border to go to other countries to bring food to the house, to sell in the musikas and everything else. So at the end of the day, women need a paradigm shift of mindset. The men themselves really know that they are who they are because of women. They need to stop limiting women, and we need all the support from business, from women business people. They should understand the struggle that we have as women politicians. We need all the support from the men themselves, who are the businessmen, the millionaires, the billionaires they are because of the advice they got from their wives. They need to support the women's movement. We need to be sincere in ensuring that gender balance becomes a reality in Zimbabwe. Thank you.
And
Thank you,
just
Linda.
not to add on something. Right now, this is a live streaming, right? Already there are men on this live stream that are saying prostitute. I'm not seeing any comments that are busy telling these are stupid women. You know, these are some of the stigma that we are facing. These are some of the issues that we as young women we are facing. You know, we are being victimized. The social media is busy, like Linda is a fool, Linda, Yvonne, and my sister, they're busy already as we are talking right now, as we are live streaming right now. So I just want you to see the next, I wish you bring in male candidates here. You have this same conversation, bring Monzora, bring Mnangagwa, bring Janisa. You are going to see the comments that are going to come from the live stream. It's going to be a total different perspective. And I want to put it to my sisters out there that this election is not more about the male counterparts, it's more about us as women. As women. We have a lot of issues that are supposed to bring us together. We have issues that bring us more united than issues that are supposed to divide us. You see, there are women already on the live stream that are saying, who is Linda? Who is Yvonne? And who is
So
my
they-
sister from? Yeah, but is prostitutes. They don't know what they're talking. They are not educated. They are going to put in a lot of issues. So today, I'm not going to talk much about our male voters. I'm going to put it across to our female voters. Women, we are going to decide this election. This election is about us. This election is about, if you have a dollar, if you feel like I have to fund this election, fund it to a female candidate, whether a president candidate, whether a parliamentary candidate, whether a council candidate. I can tell you, we have been doing a lot of things. Some people doesn't see them. We have been trying, even from parliament, we have been trying to push female issues, women issues. But you know, because parliament is constituted by men, we cannot move a motion and men will come and support
So
it.
your voices are sort of like
Yes, we need more women in parliament. We need more women in council. Even if God provides us with women, whatever, at any position, we just wish to have women taking party, women leading.
Yeah, still on that, women leading. There's something that President Linda said about a paradigm shift in how women think. And I'll bring this to the women's organizations, the women's movement in this country. We have the young women's movement and we have the general women's movement, right? And if we were to count the number of workshops that take place a year, capacitation workshops that take place in a year, and the amount of money that is used, really, and we're crying about young women, aspiring candidates that do not have money to run. How about the money for workshops be pushed to these young women?
Yes.
How is that? Like, we are wrapping up, you know, as we wrap up, women's movement financially supporting young women candidates.
It's something that I've also been advocating and lobbying for. But I'll shoot from the hip. Most women's organizations in Zimbabwe are already politically affiliated.
Yes, that's true.
I'll give you an example of the last by-election. Some women candidates from other political parties were funded by women's organizations. And the ones coming from a women-led party were not funded.
Yes.
And this is the reality of things that are happening on the ground. Just yesterday, I got details of another women's organization that is funding women candidates. But when I called them today, they told me that nothing like that is happening. So our women's organizations are also not sincere in capacitating women across the political divide. They'll look at where you are coming from. And that is one other biggest challenge that we have in this country. Our women's movement should stand for women across the political divide.
Yeah.
The moment they start having gendered lenses, it means that our women's movement is not sincere. Even as I say this, there are other women's organizations that will never call the women-led political parties to their capacity building programs and everything else. They'll go and take the women from the male-led political parties. And then you ask yourself, so what is it exactly that we are doing as women? Just at the last meeting, she was there.
Yes.
We were called at a women's meeting. We were not acknowledged as women presidents. I actually had to raise my hand and say, if it were the male political party leaders in here, you would have acknowledged them. But this is a problem for women political participation, but you do not even acknowledge the women presidents in this room.
Yes.
So what is it exactly that we're talking about? So you find that the discrimination itself of women political leaders is coming from women as well, on angles of affiliation.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, women need to understand one thing. Issues that affect women across cutting. If we have a woman rooting for president, it's a plus for every woman, regardless of where you're politically affiliated. Because if that woman manages to get into power, she can be the voice that you've been waiting for. So at the end of the day, women need to change their mindsets, like what I said earlier on. Imagine if we had more than 50% of our councillors across all the local authorities and the rural municipalities in Zimbabwe being women. I don't think we'll be having water and sanitation issues in this country because women use water on a daily basis, rather on an hourly basis. But because most of our councillors are men, men have got the water provided for them by the women. We are the ones who carry that water on top of our heads. We are the ones who feel the pain. The men will be drinking their beer or maybe with their concubines and everything else. But we still cannot vote and support women candidates. So a lot needs to be done. Even the laws that we are crying for. Look at the state of maternity wards across Zimbabwe. We are the ones who are going to give birth in hospitals without painkillers, with hospitals that are ill-equipped, because we've got less women pushing for those issues. And when they do, let us not forget the whipping system in our parliament. There's a chief whip. I've never seen a chief whip who's a woman in Zimbabwe for the past donkey years. I've never seen that. So the moment you want to raise women's issues that the party does not feel is important because the party is patriarchally dominated, our issues continue to be thwarted. So we need to think with gendered lenses in 2023 elections and push for a women's revolution in Zimbabwe. I'm unapologetic about that. I'm a principled person. In 2018, I voted for 3 women. I voted for Dr. Tokozani Kupe as president. I voted for myself as MP. And for councillor, I did not even vote for the councillor from my party. I voted for a woman independent candidate. That is how principled I am. Because there's nothing for women without women. And there's no democracy without women. So at the end of the day, this democracy that you speak about, supporting male candidates, there is no democracy in Zimbabwe power. Period.
Thank you, President Linda. Yvonne.
Okay, just to add on, especially on women organizations, I just want to applaud #Whispers because it's trying to bring in young women together and to share their views. But apart from #Whispers, myself, I've never been invited. I don't know where young women organizations are, where women organizations are, because of my affiliation to MDC. Because of my affiliation to Douglas Monzora. So what I am seeing right now is women movement. I'm just getting it from #Whispers. My friend, she's my sister, I call her Gogolinda. She has been telling me she's coming from a workshop this morning. I don't know how to mention it, but I was never invited, but everyone knows I am a candidate in Harare. There are quite a number of organizations that are holding workshops. They are having capacity buildings, but they are not able to invite us because they are affiliated to other political parties, either ZANU-PF nor Triple C. But me, I don't care about those things because my movement is for the women of Zimbabwe. It's not for certain organization. So, like now, my fight is that every young woman, every woman must be capacitated. Every woman must be financially independent. And we go on and we see what's going to come out from the 2023 elections.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. And Rebecca, still, as the new kids on the block, have you received any help from women's movement, any capacitation from women's movement, or invites?
My answer is no. This is the first meeting that we have been invited. Thank you, #Whispers. I'm hearing there are capacitation building workshops that are being done. We have never been invited. We have never been there. Maybe we have been invited to a UN meetings, but from these workshops that are being done, we have never been invited. So we are saying, yes, these workshops, they are being monopolized. They are just taking from the ruling party and other parties. So we are not going anywhere because they are being monopolized. These workshops, they are meant for us women to be capacitated, to gain knowledge, to be taught about new strategies and everything that needs to be done, especially this coming election. So we are not being invited. But as I round off, I'm saying, women, let's vote for a sister, sister for sister. Like President Linda has said, women, they've got the capacity. to lead. I just want to take you back from a family setup. A mother is the one who is supposed to know kuti mwana akabhadhara chikoro here. There comes winter. Do they have warm clothes? Rent yakabhadharwa here. Zvese zvakaitwa here. We are doing all the administration at home. Why women? Why can't we take it to the national administration? Why can't we put a woman to lead us? If we can do it at home, why not at a national administration? Our history says it all every time that the Chimurenga War was led by a woman, Mbuya Nehanda. Right now we have a statue there, standing, recognizing Mbuya Nehanda. If Mbuya Nehanda did it, why can't Linda do it? It's for us women to take a step and look back. As women, we are the ones who are voting for men. Why can't we vote for a woman, a sister for sister, so that we can build our nation together? If a woman leads, no one will go hungry.
True.
No one will never will be said haana kuenda kuchikoro, because amai kana vachimbogona kusungirira vanogona kusungirira even kuti nyika ienderere mberi. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, final parting shots. Linda, I'll start with you.
My parting shots are going to be as candid as they are. Women in the women's organization in Zimbabwe should stop viewing the work that they're doing as a job. It should be something they're doing out of passion to advance the women's agenda in this country. The moment we want to view women with partisan lenses, we are losing it and what we've been fighting for since 1980. To the funders, giving us conditions to ensure that we succeed in the women's revolution, we succeed in empowering women and making the world a better place for women. To the women of Zimbabwe, anonzwa kurwadza kwemimba ndisu. Mwana chaiye anotamba namai vake, anokudzwa namai vake, ogoendeswa kuchikoro namai vake. Why do we shift goalposts when we are adults to start preferring men over women when we've always been playing with our mothers? As we vote in 2023 elections, mukadzi ngaavhotere mukadzi abi yake. We've been used enough. We've been abused enough, to the extent that most girls think it's actually a curse to be born a girl. Because even at tertiary institutions, the lecturers want to sleep with you to make you pass. At the workplace, the male bosses want to sleep with you to give you a promotion. In politics, the male leaders want to sleep with you to give you an opportunity to run for office. At the end of the day, we need to take up the leadership space and make politics, the workplace, tertiary institutions, whichever place, a safe place and a safe haven for women. But that can only be done when we have women in politics. Womandla.
Amen. Yvonne, your parting shots?
Okay, thank you. My parting shots to Zach. These exorbitant fees are not for us. And Zimbabweans are poor, and it's a pro-poor country. Everyone knows that we have nothing, and majority of us, we are unemployed, we are young women, and we're expecting the fees to decrease. My expectation is for this fees to go back to 2018, and I'm trying to lobby my lawyers to do another agent court application so that maybe the fees may be decreased. If it doesn't work out in our favor, then it means we're doomed as young women. And to the Zimbabwean electorate, I'm just asking for you to vote for us young women, because we have an idea that is going to take Zimbabwe far. And lastly, what I want to say is we are ready as young women, and we are ready to take over. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Yvonne. Young women are ready to take over. Rebecca, your parting shots.
with no funding, we are not going anywhere. As much as we would want to stand up as women, with no resources, we are not going anywhere. So I would like to appeal from all those women organizations that are supporting women, instead of funding the workshops and maybe the capacitation building, why can't you find young women so that they can run the campaigns, so that they can get into offices? Women, this is our time. This is our time to change this nation. Without a woman, we have no country. Without a woman, we have no leaders. We need this nation to be changed. And the only person who can change this nation is a woman. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Rebecca. Wow. Thank you so much, viewers. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for watching and for sharing this very exciting conversation. And from what has been said, I would say my takeaway for today really is the issue of finances, that women across board, whether they are young women politicians, urban women politicians, rural young women politicians, they all need resources. They all need money to campaign. They need money to buy campaigning material, and more so the nomination fees that are knocking on our doors. Till next time, goodbye.